Can air be painted? Wait a minute. Is that even possible? Can you actually paint something that's essentially invisible? And why would you even want to? Now, you may be thinking, has this guy lost it? But think about it. Every painting has negative space, that area around your main subject, and it can't just sit there looking flat and empty, right? You've got to show it somehow. Every portrait or still life is surrounded by something. This mysterious something that you actually need to paint. Surprisingly, I've never come across a YouTube video that dives deep into this topic, even though it is way more important than most artists realize. So my friends, welcome back. In today's video, you are about to learn how to paint something that's, well, invisible. Alright my mates, bear with me and take this with tiny grain of salt, because even air, or rather the light traveling through the atmosphere around the subject we paint, can actually be seen with the naked eye under certain conditions. Before I dive into explaining this intriguing concept, let's first tackle a key question. Why on earth would anyone want to paint air? Good question, right? Seriously though, next time you are looking at painting, check out what's lurking behind the main subject, whether it's portrait or still life. Generally speaking, you'll spot two scenarios. My favorite topic is still life, so let's keep it simple and start there, alright? But don't worry, what I'm about to share applies equally well to portraits or pretty much anything else you might paint. So as I mentioned, when composing painting, you always have to decide what's happening in the background. Option 1, a wall behind your still life. That's a kind of the easier choice because walls reflect light and have textures that can you easily spot and paint. Option 2, your still life is surrounded by open space filled only with air. And believe it or not, you got to find a way to paint that too. Basically, you need to create an illusion on your canvas that something tangible is enveloping your subject. Once we get through the essentials, you'll realize both scenarios follow exactly the same set of rules. It's pretty much the same thing, just with a slight variation in texture. So, do you know how to do it? What is the secret to painting empty space? If you know me well, you can probably guess. Yep, it is the light again. I feel like I say this in almost every video. Color, temperature, direction, intensity, light controls everything. It decides what your scene looks like. Light is the source of color harmony, and everything else follow its lead. Now I won't dive deep into theory again here. If you want a full breakdown, I've got several videos that covers this topic in more detail. Go check those out if you haven't already. Here's something crazy to think about. Light is invisible until it hits something. Everything you see around you, it's just reflected light. You can see sunlight beams only because they're surrounded by shadows. Light and darkness coexist. And when there is stuff floating in the air like water molecules, dust, and who knows what else, all of it acts like a filter. Light bounces off it, passes through it, and boom, it becomes visible. That's why photographers often use artificial fog to make light rays show up. But let's bring it back to painting. Theory is one thing, practice is another. So now let me show you exactly how to apply all of this to your own work. When it comes to value, the background behind your subject can either be dark or light. Forget about color for a second. When you are planning a composition, values and how you design them are actually way more important in the early stages than color itself. So here's how I approach it. First, I decide, is the background going to be darker than what I'm painting in the foreground or lighter? It is that simple, but in practice, just slapping a light or dark background behind something can feel flat. It is much better to give your background a flow, letting the values shift naturally, almost like light is flowing through the painting. A common trick is to have one side of the background a little darker and the other side lighter. Take a look at the painting I'm working on now. Imagine light streaming onto the table through a window. The wall around the window blocks some of that light, so the left side of the background stays darker. But as the light travels further across the scene, It lights up more of the background, making the value lift just a bit. The same thing happens to the table itself. On the left side, closer to the window, the tabletop is lighter. On the right side, farther from the light source, the table is a bit darker. And here's the kicker. This effect is super subtle in the real life. You might not even notice it at all, but if you want your painting to glow with believable light, you've got to exaggerate these shifts just a little, based on your knowledge and your artistic choices. Alright, now you know how and why to lay out your values. So let's switch gears and dive back into the color. To create the illusion of atmosphere and air and the space around your subject, you first need to understand how color affects the look of shadows. Or, to be even more precise, how color temperature does. A warm shadow adds depth and richness. Cool tones, on the other hand, make shadows feel lighter and more airy, but if you only use cool shadows, everything can end up looking kind of flat and kind of lifeless. So what's the fix? Very simple. You need both warm and cool colors in your shadows. Let's bring this back to my painting to make it super clear. In the still life I'm working on, the background is basically just air, an empty, dimly lit space. On the left side, the background leans warm, thanks to a warm underpainting that peeks through the top layer of a darker but still warmish mix, in this case burnt umber and ultramarine blue. As you move toward the center where the light picks up, you can spot a cooler bluish tones. This hints at a secondary light source sneaking in. Over on the right side, the background warms up again because the area is getting hit by the main light source. So, what is the secret sauce for painting empty spaces? It's all about designing your values and playing with color temperature shifts. In classical realism, there's a golden rule: warm shadows, cooler halftones, and warm lights. You'll find this pattern all over my paintings, not just in the background, but also in the still life subjects and portraits themselves. Mastering the flow of light really comes down to knowing how and when to use warm and cool tones like a pro. And there you have it. Now you know how to paint the air. If you are working with something like a wall in the background instead of just empty space, don't worry, the rules are basically the same. The only difference is the color and the texture of the wall. Sure, a brightly colored wall will shift the overall mood of your background, but a skilled artist knows, just like I do, the color is a relative thing. You can always tweak and adjust your colors to fit the overall harmony you are aiming for. If your head's spinning a little bit right now, no stress. Just remember this one simple rule to start. Alternate warm and cool tones. That alone will boost your paintings up to a whole new level. Alright, that's it for today, my mates. If you had a good time, smash the like button and don't forget to hit subscribe. I've got a lot more awesome stuff coming your way, and you won't wanna miss it. If you are curious about realistic painting and wanna learn even more, head over to my Patreon. I've got a ton of extra videos and workshops there that you won't find here on YouTube. Links down in the description. Also, if you wanna geek out even more, check out my books on Amazon. They're packed with good stuff, and yep, the links are just a scroll away. And if you're into prints, stickers, or wanna grab some cool merch, hop over to matemerch.com. Don't forget to use code M8SALE to snag 10% off your whole order. You'll also find me kicking around on Instagram and Facebook. So come say hi. Thanks a ton for hanging out today. Take care, stay creative, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye. Whew. It's not easy to speak in English. You know, guys, I got my script here on prompter. I'm reading from my prompter. My son. Hello.
Aiuti.
Ciao.
Prendi riposo.
Dopo di essere sto. Say hi.